What if I told you that the reason biology feels overwhelming isn't because it's difficult, but because most students are using the wrong method to study it? Imagine if you could learn entire chapters in a fraction of the usual time. Remember complex processes effortlessly and walk into your exam with total confidence. Not because you studied harder, but because you studied smarter. In this video, I'm going to show you a complete system to learn biology so fast that it almost feels illegal. This method is based on neuroscience, memory science, and real study habits used by top students who consistently score the highest marks. If you're tired of reading the same pages over and over again, only to forget everything the next day, then this guide might change the way you study forever. Biology is one of those subjects that can feel incredibly fascinating, yet incredibly frustrating at the same time. Students often spend hours reading pages filled with processes, cycles, and terminology, only to discover the next day that their brain seems to have deleted everything. The biggest misconception is believing that reading equals learning. But the human brain isn't designed to remember long passages of text. It's designed to remember meaning, connection, visual imagery, and emotional associations. When students read passively, highlight entire paragraphs, or copy notes mechanically, they are engaging with biology only at the surface level. There is no friction, no retrieval, and no challenge. And without these elements, there is no memory formation. This is why biology feels like a subject that doesn't stick, because the method used is incompatible with how the brain actually works. The problem becomes even worse because biology is cumulative. Every chapter depends on the previous one. If you don't understand the basic cell structure, molecular biology, genetics, everything built on top becomes harder. Students often attempt to memorize everything instead of understanding the core ideas, which leads to cognitive overload. The goal is not to learn every sentence in a textbook, but to develop an operating system for your brain so that biology naturally becomes easier to absorb. Before jumping into techniques, you need to understand one thing. Studying fast does not mean rushing. It means eliminating wasted effort so every minute actually leads to real learning. Neuroscience shows that deep learning happens when your brain performs 3 activities: encoding, processing information in a meaningful way; storage, associating new data with existing knowledge; retrieval, pulling information back from memory without looking at the book. Most students only perform encoding. They read, reread, underline, and think they understand. But biology requires powerful retrieval. When you can recall processes, definitions, diagrams, and explanations without help, that's when you've mastered a topic. Studying fast means shifting from passive encoding to active retrieval. This is the core idea behind the entire system. One of the most powerful techniques in the video is transforming biological processes into mental movies. This works because the human brain stores visual experiences more vividly than abstract text. So instead of trying to memorize the sentence, DNA replication is semi-conservative. Imagine the DNA helix unwinding like a zipper. Put yourself inside the scene. Visualize helicase cutting through hydrogen bonds like tiny scissors. Picture polymerase as a builder, carrying buckets of nucleotides and placing them one by one. Visualize ligase acting like a glue gun, sealing all the breaks. By transforming text into imagery, you create a story your mind can follow. The more exaggerated or unusual the imagery, the stronger the memory. If you want to study fast, your goal is to stop memorizing and start visualizing. Every chapter: photosynthesis, meiosis, immune response, digestion, reproduction, can be transformed into a dynamic visual scene. Once your brain sees it, it keeps it. This is how you turn complex concepts into instantly accessible memories. Another major mistake students make is treating all chapters equally. Not all content has the same importance. Some topics are foundational, some are frequently tested, and some contain diagrams that are guaranteed to appear in exams. To study biology fast, you must apply the high-yield priority framework. Core concepts, non-negotiables. These include cell biology, genetics, metabolism, evolution, and molecular processes. If these are weak, everything becomes harder. Spend quality time mastering them. Frequently tested topics. Look at previous year papers. Patterns appear almost immediately. Topics like genetics problems, human physiology, reproduction, plant physiology, and immune system responses show up again and again. Diagram-heavy chapters. These are scoring opportunities. Neat diagrams can earn marks even when your theory isn't perfect. Prioritize chapters with high diagram frequency. Low effort, high return topics. Some chapters are straightforward and mostly factual. These can be mastered quickly and boost your score easily. By focusing on high-yield content instead of everything, you reduce study time drastically and increase the amount of material you actually retain. Active recall is the heart of studying fast. Instead of reading passively, you force your brain to retrieve information. Here's how to apply it effectively in biology. Read a topic once, close your book. Explain the topic out loud as if teaching a friend. Open the book and check what you missed. This simple cycle is more effective than reading the same page 5 times. When your brain actively attempts to pull information, the neural pathway becomes stronger. If you do this consistently for a few days, you'll notice that topics previously forgotten suddenly become familiar. Use active recall with diagrams too. Try redrawing pathways, cycles, anatomical structures, and labeling them from memory. Even if you get only 40% correct, the active retrieval builds. Long-term retention. Spaced repetition allows you to study less frequently, but remember longer. Human memory follows a predictable curve. If you don't review within a certain time, forgetting begins. But if you review strategically, you lock information into long-term memory. Apply this schedule. Day 1. Learn a topic. Day 2. Review it. Day 4. Review again. Day 7. Quick recall. Day 14. Final reinforcement. This system transforms your brain from forgetting mode into consolidation mode. When used with biology, where terms and processes pile up quickly, spaced repetition becomes essential. Memory palaces are one of the oldest and most powerful learning techniques ever discovered. Instead of forcing your brain to memorize long definitions or complicated pathways, you place information inside an imaginary location you already know extremely well. Your house, your school, your favorite cafe, even your route to class. To study biology with this method, divide the topic into small chunks and assign each chunk to a specific spot in your chosen palace. For example, put prophase at your front door, metaphase at the living room table, anaphase on the stairs, telophase inside your bedroom. When you mentally walk through your memory palace, the information sticks effortlessly. Mnemonics work the same way. Your brain memorizes strange, funny, or personal phrases faster than serious ones. The weirder the mnemonic, the easier the recall. That's why toppers turn boring sequences into ridiculous sentences their brains love to store. Studying fast has nothing to do with multitasking. In fact, multitasking destroys learning speed. The real secret is immersive, undistracted focus, what elite students use while everyone else is scrolling their phone. Use 90-minute deep bio sprints, where you dedicate your full attention to one chapter or one concept. Read it, understand it, explain it to yourself. Draw diagrams, rewrite key points. Test yourself instantly. This single sprint builds more mastery than hours of passive reading. After each 90-minute session, take a 20 to 30-minute break to reset your brain. Just 2 of these sprints per day can outperform 5 to 6 hours of ineffective studying. Because you're activating high-efficiency learning zones in your brain. Content knowledge alone isn't enough. What matters is whether you can reproduce it under exam pressure. That's where exam simulation becomes a game changer. At least a few weeks before the real exam, sit with a timer. Solve previous year questions. Write answers in actual exam format. Draw every required diagram within time limits. This not only reveals what you don't know yet, it trains your brain to operate like it's already inside the exam hall. After every mock test, go through your mistakes and record them in a dedicated bio-error log. This log becomes your personal map of weaknesses, ensuring you never repeat the same errors twice. A BioVault is a personalized revision ecosystem that contains one-page summaries, diagram sheets, flashcards, common mistakes, mnemonics, mind maps, topic maps. This vault becomes your #1 revision tool during exam season. To study biology fast, your goal is not to memorize everything. Your goal is to understand deeply, visualize clearly, recall actively, and revise strategically. Biology becomes effortless when you work with your brain, not against it.